Okay, so I'm gonna get us started for our March meeting tonight. Thank you everyone for logging on. We've got Brian Miller with us tonight. He's an official with Massel and has been doing that for about 11 years. I think Brian and I may have done a Massel game together in the last few years or not. And Brian also is the assigner for the national championship games in July each year for the US Youth Soccer. So Brian's going to share with us some of the things that you can do as an official to set yourself up to success in that platform. Um, I want to thank Taylor Vance for connecting you, Brian, with us. Taylor, unfortunately, is at a WOA assigner meeting this evening, so he isn't able to join us. He may jump on later on. But please, everyone, we want to make this interactive. So if you have questions along the way, don't hesitate to jot something in the chat or raise your hand and we'll get your questions answered. So with that, Brian, I'll let you take it away.
All right. Thank you very much for having me. And I'm looking forward to in the next however long we go here to try to impart some wisdom upon y'all. So when I was talking to Taylor about kind of what he wanted from me, because of the pretty cool roles that I've somehow fallen into in the soccer world, I do a lot of I guess picking and deciding who gets to do stuff, whether that's doing the McGuire Cup at USU Soccer National Championships, or it's who's working an Elite Eight game for the NCAA, kind of in the Midwest region, or it's who's getting invited to some of these high level youth events, or it's who gets to work some of these professional and semi-professional games that I assign in my roles as a national assigner for U.S. Soccer. So it's what we were talking about is he goes, some people, their question is, how do I advance? How do I move up? How do I, are there certain things that referees, and kind of all those venues, attributes, traits that they have, that are common, and that if people are looking to move up in refereeing, whether it's moving up locally or it's moving up within your state or within your region or nationally, are there certain traits, certain things that everybody kind of needs to possess or work to possess, so they can do that? And the answer is absolutely yes. So I'm going to throw a bunch of thoughts and ideas at you. I'm going to share my screen here in a second. But these are just my ideas. I guess that's kind of the important thing is, don't go around saying, oh, Brian Miller said in order to advance in USU soccer, you absolutely need to do this, or you absolutely need to do that. These are just my thoughts. So that's kind of my disclaimer here. Though I work for US Soccer, I work for USU Soccer, I work for the NCAA. That doesn't mean that everything I'm going to say tonight is policy of those organizations. This is just me kind of with my experience sharing that with you. So musts. I have a small list of musts before we get to this, and there's really no debate about having these things. If you want to advance in refereeing, again, whatever level you're at, these are the things I think that must kind of be in your repertoire. So the first one, and I gave a preview of it, and it's real simple, is fitness. This is the separator now. So if fitness isn't a priority for you, moving up probably isn't going to happen. So this is just a 2024 thing. If you're looking at games on TV, referees are looking like players. That's what everyone kind of wants. If you're going to put a referee on TV, they want them to look very similar to a player. That's why we wear the uniforms that we do. right? What sense does it make to have a referee wear, high socks and short shorts? And well, because way back when, the thought was referees should look like players, and that thought continues today. So when you turn a game on TV, you're going to see fit officials, and that's a real easy separator to figure out who advances. If fitness is a concern, it's just not going to work for you. So, and let me talk about that too. Those of you that are looking to move up, just passing a fitness test isn't enough. So I remember the first time I went to U.S. Soccer National Camp. We several of us, myself included, barely passed the fitness test, and the guy in charge back then was Brian Hall, who moved on to be director of CONCACAF referees later. But at the time, he was in charge of U.S. Soccer referees, and he basically ripped us and said, "You guys are 25 years old, 30 years old. We're looking. How many of you want to be national referees?" Well, we're almost there or there. How many of you want to be MLS referees? We all put our hands up. How many of you want to be FIFA referees? We all put our hands up. And he goes, well, barely passing the fitness test at 25 years old, when we're looking to invest in you with assessments, with instruction, with travel, think of how much money they're going to invest in the very, very best up and coming referees. If you guys are barely passing the fitness test at 25 years old, what are you going to do at 35? What are you going to do at 45? And we're not looking to put all this money into you, all these resources into you, for you just to be a 5-year MLS referee. We want you to be around for 20 years. So fitness is something that we can all control. There's so many good resources on the internet now that you can tap into. Nutrition, fitness, just have to be there if you're trying to move up. It's not, there's no option for that. And if we're preparing to referee at the highest level, we have to do the fitness test at the highest level. So, what I just put on the board on the screen is the minimum fitness standards for national referees. So if people are looking to get to that level, this is what we have to do. So it's 6 sprints. You can see the times for male and female. And remember, male and female at this level doesn't just mean what the referee's gender is, it means what type of games they want to referee. So if you're looking to just be a women's referee working the NWSL, fine, you can hit the female standard. But if you want to be an MLS referee, despite, or it doesn't matter what gender you are, you have to meet the male standard. So all of this is out there, it's available to you. But what kills me was when I'm at some of these events, people don't train to pass the test. They just train, or they just do games. And then they come into this environment where they have this test and they seem surprised. Don't be surprised. Here's the test. Okay. And if you've decided to go AR track, which some people have done, there's a very specific AR test that again is on the screen and is laid out for everybody. So there shouldn't be any surprises. This is a little bit easier than the referee test, but it does involve some agility stuff. So you're not just sprinting, you're not just running and walking, you're also doing some sidestepping and whatnot. So please make sure that you make fitness a priority, and then obviously make sure you know what the standards are as you try to move up. And I wouldn't even worry about lesser tests. There's tests for regional officials. There's tests for, college has a slightly different test. This is the toughest test. So if you can pass this referee test and this AR test, if you can pass this referee test that's on the screen now, and this AR test that's on the screen now, you guys are going to be fine with any other fitness test. These are the toughest ones. Get this sorted out, train to pass these tests, and you're going to be good all the way through, becoming a national referee, if that's the route you choose. So fitness has to be a priority. Nutrition has to be a priority. And, it might be a lifestyle change for some people, but if you're trying to get to the very, very top, of referees in the country. There's only about 200 national referees. There's about 75 pro referees. You add that up, 275 people. There's about 122,000 registered referees with U.S. Soccer. So, to get to that very, very small 0.0001% of officials, this is just kind of how it's got to go. Okay, so that's must number one, fitness. Must number two, technical knowledge. So this, if sorry, let me I'll put this link in the chat in a little bit. And then you can copy and paste it and put it in a browser and favorite it or whatever. But this link is something all of us should have. It's not a secret. So this is everything that U.S. Soccer puts out to administrators, to national referee coaches, to national assigners, to national referees. All of that stuff that they put out is thrown into this website, and it's public. So, feel free to grab from there, because knowledge is power, right? So, thank you. Thank you, whoever put that in
I
there
got
for
that
me.
in there for you,
Appreciate it.
Brian. I sent it.
Awesome. Love it. There'll be another one later too. So
Okay.
stay ready.
I'll be ready.
All right. So so the technical knowledge aspect of refereeing is a must. If you don't know terminology, you're going to be caught behind. If you're not up to the most current interpretations, which, there's a bunch of places that you can get that information. If you're not watching the pro, week in review type videos that are posted with Greg Barkey, you're missing out. The VAR stuff, you're missing out. FIFA, if you haven't been to FIFA's website and just clicked on refereeing, there's stuff there. There's stuff on CONCACAF's website. There's stuff obviously on US Soccer's website. I've got the link here. There's so many good places. Lots of state associations have resources. This is something that anyone could do. Just a simple Google search and look at the date that stuff is posted, and it's probably going to be current. But the more you can read, even if it's not current, as far as being published recently, it still applies unless something has come along after it that says it doesn't apply anymore. So there's a lot of really good instructional material that might be several years old that you haven't seen or it hasn't been presented to you. It still applies. It's still good stuff. So, those of you that are trying to move up, get that technical knowledge, because it's a given. It's a must. Okay. Next, paperwork. So, as an assigner, this is something I'm sure that your local assigners have kind of drilled into your mind, that it has to be done. It has to be perfect. All kinds of paperwork. So, as we're talking about specific games, it's keeping your availability up to date. I can't tell you how many times Pro or the NCAA has looped me into a conversation where they've been disappointed with someone because they showed as available and then they decline the game. Like, I can't even begin to explain how frustrating it is when you're getting to the level where assignments are deliberated with a group and the puzzle is put together, assuming that everyone's availability is correct. So you get assigned to a very certain specific game for a very specific reason. And then you come back and say, whoa, I can't do it. Well, that messes up the entire puzzle, because maybe that was the toughest game. So now we have to move this group of people. It's not just inconveniencing one person, but now we have to move all of these things around to make sure that the matchups make the most sense. Or, we just say, okay, forget about it. We'll leave it as it is. We'll just make this one switch and everything else can stay kind of as they are. Well, that's not doing great to serve the game. So when those assigners yell at you to keep your availability updated, to set your blocks, that is so important. And in 2024, with game officials closing, by the way, that closes at the end of this week. So if you have any information on game officials, you might want to grab it, because that website will be impossible to get to at the end of the month here. But as certain officiating, signing applications and websites close and other ones open, and yeah, it sucks. You get a game on one platform and then you have to go update your availability on two, three, four, five other ones. It's just the cost of doing business, and that's a terrible excuse. Oh my God, I just got this game. I didn't get a chance to update um, these other assigning platforms. It just doesn't fly, especially at the highest levels. So it's really important to manage your schedule. I was talking to somebody, a very high level college assigner, and he basically made the comment that, being able to manage your schedule, being able to manage your travel, your flights, your rental cars, your hotels, all of that, and then still referee a game is a skill that a lot of people don't have. So he'll take the experienced guy that has managed to do that for a while, rather than maybe the new guy that seems like he might be a better referee in that exact moment, but he doesn't have that experience managing this other stuff, this paperwork stuff. And I don't just mean paperwork, because 2024 we're not actually doing paperwork very often, but managing your availability, filling out what needs to be filled out in a timely fashion. And then if you're looking to upgrade, and I get this question a lot, well, how do I upgrade? It's out there. So if you're a referee, what used to be called a grassroots referee, and you want to move to a regional referee, here's the 2024 requirements. Okay. So this is not a secret. So you need to know that if you're trying to move to that level, okay, that you have to complete 25 games as a referee, 15 games as an AR at the adult level. So, I work for USU Soccer. I love the youth game. It's awesome. I think it's great for referee development, but US Soccer has moved their upgrade requirements pretty much exclusively to adult games. So we have to balance, what we're doing at the youth level and what we're doing at the adult level, because to move from referee, what formerly was grassroots referee, to regional, that's there. That has to happen. Okay, and then for those of you on the call that want to be national referees, that's not a secret either. So again, I don't know who spelled amateur, but whatever. Um, but there's game count requirements. There's obviously there's the fitness test requirements that I showed earlier. There's assessment requirements. Setting up those assessments with national assessors is a kind of a pain. Sometimes you have to go through your state, that has to go through the assessor state, that has to go through to the wherever the game is, and then it have to be done by 3 different people, and it's a tough process. Well, there's not even 200 national referees, so that's why it's a tough process. So knowing this stuff, keeping those game counts, putting this together, if you want to move up in refereeing, it has to happen. So make sure that that all that's there. Okay. Moving along. Yeah. All right. Click. Dedication. This is a given. There's no way around it. It's too competitive. There's too many people that are lifer soccer referees that want to work at the highest level. And at the lower levels, it's gotten so much more competitive than what it was. I remember when I started refereeing, I wasn't very good at all, but I was fit. So I got a bunch of games just because I was fit and other people weren't. Well, now all these things, that these 7 musts that I'm throwing out there tonight, all these things have to be there. And that's in 20 years, it went from, hey, you can run and keep up with play, that's good enough, to now you have to be a student of the game. You have to be working all the time at refereeing. So it's real simple. There's only so many hours in the day. Obviously, refereeing for most people isn't their full-time job. There's real job, there's families, there's faith, there's other hobbies, there's all kinds of things that pull at our time. But the more you put into something, the more you're going to get out of it. And I think refereeing is no different. So the people that are very dedicated to refereeing are going to move through the system faster than those that can't because they have other things taking up their time. So a must to move up again in the USU soccer system and in the US soccer system is dedication. If you're not dedicated, if you're not willing to sacrifice for this, it's just not going to happen. And for all of you that were on the that are on the call tonight, thank you, because your dedication, showing up here on a Monday night when there's other things you could be doing, is evident. And thank you for doing that. And those of you that want to move up beyond where you're at, it doesn't go away. It actually, that level of dedication has to increase. So I had a really good buddy of mine that liked to drink beer and watch football, and he's trying to advance to higher levels of soccer officiating. That lifestyle does not work. It just doesn't. So him and I had to have this really tough conversation that dude, that's awesome. You're gonna have plenty of time to do that when your career's over. But right now, even taking one day off a week to do that is gonna mess you up. Those fitness tests that I showed earlier, those aren't easy. You have to train for them, and they might be easy when you're 18 years old, but they're not so easy when you're 30. And if you notice on those fitness tests, there's no age. Back in the day, there used to be an age range, and you got kind of a break as you got older. Nope, gone. So this dedication to train, to eat right, to watch the videos, to go to the websites, to be a student of the game, to come on the Zoom calls like this one, to go to in-person training, to go to out of town tournaments where you can be seen by higher level ref coaches. That dedication is now a must. It used to be optional. It used to be something that, hey, if you wanted to do it, go ahead and do it. Now, must. Next, we have to eliminate the yeah buts. I can't tell you how many times we're sitting around in a room deciding who gets what, and someone will say he's a good referee, but I throw a name out, John Smith, let's give him this final, and someone says, yeah, but he did this. Yeah, but he's got a bad attitude. Yeah, but he's on social media all the time. Multiple referees, and I'm gonna sound like a grumpy old man here. Social media has killed so many referees' careers in the last couple of years. Like it's not a good thing. So the most common yeah buts that I'm seeing the last few years, things that we should all eliminate: stupid social media posts that are unprofessional. So I think we've all heard, kind of dress for the job you want. So if you're going to an interview, you get dressed up a little bit. Your social media is a footprint of what you're doing. So if there's stuff on there that's stupid, if I don't know who someone is, I'm going to search them out. I want to know, what they're doing, because number one criteria for assigning officials: trust. So I want to get as much information on a person as I can. And if you've got videos on you, videos or pictures on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever, um, TikTok now, if you've got stupid videos, stupid pictures up, it's real easy to eliminate you. So just be very careful what's on there already. I would definitely do a clean out if there's stuff um that's iffy, and I would just be careful posting in the future stuff that's certainly that's public. But even when you're friends with somebody, you don't know you don't know always, right? I've got a bunch of friends on some of these, or followers or whatever, on some of these platforms. I don't know every single person, so you never know where that's going to lead. I don't know how many of you saw the NCAA women's official that was removed from a game because she failed to disclose at halftime this weekend, because she failed to disclose that she went to grad school, I think, at one of the colleges that were playing in the game, UT Chattanooga. She went to grad school there, I believe. Nobody nobody's going to cut her a break again, right? That's such a stupid move. So that's oh, she's a good official. Yeah, but she didn't fill out her paperwork properly when she applied to work the event. So uh yeah, but other yeah, but things. He's a gossip. He talks about other officials. That's a yeah, but okay. He's the one that, someone makes a mistake and, he spreads it around the group. Everyone knows who those people are. That's a yeah, but he's a good official, but he does this. We got to eliminate that. It's so competitive now. The people that do those type of things, there's just no spot. 6. And this, I'm going to take a quick second and I'm going to ask you to go to this YouTube link if you're able and pick any 2 minutes of this game and just watch it. So we're gonna put this link in the chat. If you can open a separate window, if you're able to do that, do it. But I'm just gonna kind of pause talking here for 2 minutes, and we're gonna put this link. Let's see if we did it already. Yet, but we will have this link in the chat.
I'm getting there, Brian.
Yep. We'll have this link in the chat shortly.
Easy one.
and what this is the national championship game from several years ago at USU Soccer Nationals. So it's in the chat now. If you guys can just click on that link, that YouTube link, and pick any 2 minutes and just watch it. And what I'm looking for, or what I want you to look for, are separators, eye catchers, something that makes you stand out, something. Okay. So just watch this game for 2 minutes. I'll time it. I'll kind of take a break and stop talking. But imagine.
It's telling me that the game's not available anymore, Brian.
Yeah, it says the
What
link
the
is
heck?
not
Hold
available.
on. Everyone stop. All right. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And I'm going to pop this up because I just watched it. Hold on. Sorry, everybody.
Unless I typed it wrong.
Yeah, let me see if I can figure this out real quick. See how fast we can do this. This was going to be a really cool exercise to break up me blabbing for the
Cameron's link is working in the chat.
It is working now?
Yeah, Cameron's link is, not Richard's.
Aha.
I think I typed it wrong. I apologize.
This guy, copy and paste. All right. So everybody take 2 minutes. I'll start my little watch here. I'll time it and just watch any part of the game you want, but just watch the center referee. You're sitting in a golf cart. What do you notice? Eye-catching stuff. Is there anything there that you think he does better than most? And time starts now. Okay, so that's been 2 minutes. If someone, you could either type in the chat or you can raise your hand and I'll call on you. If someone has something that they saw that stood out that the referee was doing well in the 2 minutes they watched, either throw it in the chat or raise your hand, or you can even unmute yourself and just say what you saw. Anybody?
So Brian, we got high work rate was thrown into the chat for you.
Okay, so let me talk about that for a second. So is it administrator that's watching this game? Okay, this is day 5 of a event where the referee has worked the 4 previous days. And this is in Frisco, Texas. It's really hot. Means at Frisco, Texas, and somewhere. Really hot wherever it is. And the referee's work rate is still higher than almost anybody else's at the tournament. So that's something. We're driving around on a golf cart. We're only watching for 5 minutes. Clear separator. Why is he able to do that? Because his fitness is high, because he's worked really hard to prepare for this tournament. Nutrition, hydration, rest, all that stuff. Colin, what do you got?
Yeah, in addition to high work rate, he's getting all the little stuff right, just doing all the little mannerisms, just remaining professional, even though the game is 5-0.
Yep.
I watched like first part of the second half. So
There you go. So U18 national championship game, blowout, depending on right what part you're watching, but he refereed the game the same. So imagine, you've got players in that game that are very frustrated. Obviously, they didn't plan for the scoreline to go that way. Older boys, tired, their 5th game of the week. They had to play, 3 round robin games. They had to play a semifinal. Now they're in the final, and now things aren't going well. They kind of don't have anything to lose. It's the end of their season, so he's got to work really hard to manage. Anticipating play really well. Craig Thomas, awesome, 100%. Yep. So this is something that he does. If you look at his head, he's almost never watching the ball. Unless there's a challenge. So the ball's not going to foul anybody, right? So instead of him just staring at the player with the ball, when there's not a challenge imminent, he's looking up, he's scanning, he's starting to move before the ball's played. Okay. Jacob, presence and posture. Absolutely. Right. He's not a very tall referee. He's 5'8", I think, ish, 5'9", maybe. So he stands tall. Okay, he looks commanding and authoritative. Okay, Devin, taking care of the things in control, he looks the part. 100%, right? So this guy, the reason I picked this clip, and I don't even know, what year was that from? 19, I think? Yep, 2019. So 5 years ago, okay, this referee, and this is the U18 boys final, this referee was 19 years old, okay, doing the U18 boys final. And now he's in MLS, and he's probably going to get his first game this year with a whistle. So the reason I picked him out, okay, to show is because legit that game, any 2 minutes you picked, you would come up with the same things that you all picked out. So when you're trying to move up, you never know when someone's going to be watching. You never know what 2 minutes they're going to pick out. You think it might be an easy game. There might be nothing going on. No one's watching, no one's paying attention. Don't be so sure, okay? Because 5 years after you do the game, some Brian Miller guy could have your game clipped or and brought up in a Zoom, for officials in Washington State. You never know. So that's just people are talking about how do you move up? What's an easy thing? All the stuff that he did, working hard. He knows the technical stuff, all that stuff that I mentioned, he's doing in this game. When he's tired, the players are tired. It's 90 something degrees. It's very easily he could have dogged this game. Oh, it's a blowout. It's over. No, man. He took advantage of this opportunity and really kind of set himself up to succeed. So that's why I showed that. me switch back real quick. So sorry. Okay. All right. So that's this it factor is something that we have to find. So to go out and just referee and do a good job isn't good enough anymore. You can have a nice, solid career, but you're never going to stand out. You're never going to break away from the pack. So developing it, okay, is something that we have to work on. Sometimes being a good referee is being a good actor. So if our personalities aren't such that, you know, it lends to being a dynamic, noticeable, memorable official, there are things that we have to do. We have to throw in our bag of tricks that separate us. So maybe you're not the most outgoing person and you can't really influence outcomes through personality so much. Okay, well, what can you do? Maybe your fitness is really good. So outrun everybody, right? Outrun everyone. Don't just run a lot. Don't strive to be in the top 10% of referees in an event. Is when it comes to running, be number one. Maybe you're really good with talking and managing people. Okay. Showcase that. So when I watch a game and I ask, you know, what's a referee's strength? And they say, well, player management. And in the first 15 minutes of the game, when everything's going smooth, they haven't said one word to a player. I'm sitting here like, oh man, you think that's one of your best things? Well, you missed out on 15 minutes of happiness, 15 minutes when no one's angry at you, where you could have been building relationships during downtime. Ball goes out for a goal kick. Why not talk to the trouble player who's usually a pain in the butt? Why not talk to the captain? Why not get those guys on your side? You know, figure out what your strengths are and play to them. So again, if fitness is your strength, run more. If communication's your strength, communicate more. You know, if if presence is your strength, stand up taller. You know, I ask people when I teach these in-person clinics, I'll pass out golf pencils and index cards, and I'll say, everybody on one side of the index card, write 3 weaknesses, 3 things you need to work on as a referee. And everyone can do that. Usually it takes about 30 seconds. Fitness, positioning on static plays, and concentration in a lopsided game, right? Easily you can come up with 3 things that you don't do so well. But then I say, okay, now flip the card over and write 3 things that you're really good at. And oh my God, it takes people a long time, right, to rattle 3 things that they're really good at. You know why you have to know what you're good at? Because when the game goes to crap, you need to use that stuff more. So you need to know what you're good at and what you're bad at, and work on the stuff that you're bad at so you don't stay bad at it forever. And then the stuff that you're good at, overuse it when the game starts to go to crap. Okay. So that's your last, or your almost last must. And then your last must is luck. And this is just a fact. There's no secret sauce to becoming a FIFA referee or becoming a national referee or getting the championship game at some event. It's a totality of all the stuff I talked about tonight, plus luck. So when someone comes to me and they say, look, I'm doing everything I can do and it's not happening, keep waiting. Maybe tomorrow will be your lucky day. I get that it's sometimes that's frustrating when you see people that have more luck than you. But what I always ask when people say to me, I haven't made it, I'm not getting what I want. Okay, well, have you done those other 6 things I talked about? Are those all sorted out? Are you the best person in your group with laws knowledge, rules knowledge? Are you the most fit person in your group? You know, do you watch the most games? Do all that stuff? Are you the most professional? Do you always respond to the emails? Do you always complete the requirements? If you've done all of that, okay, kind of sucks. I'm with you. I'm on your side. But if you've only done some of that, or if you've only done the parts of that that you like to do, I don't have much sympathy, because you create your own luck. I think we've all heard that phrase, and we probably all agree with it. But really, it's so applicable to soccer, right? If that guy that we saw in that video a little bit ago, he did all of that stuff right at 19 years of age, and he's continued to do it, right? There's no yeah buts with him. He's a good guy. He supports his partners. He doesn't put dumb things on social media. He works really hard. He's super fit. He's very dedicated. All that stuff he's done. And what do you know? Luck is on his side, and now he's knocking on the door of MLS at 25 years old. How cool is that? Really cool. So I guess in kind of closing here, as I wrap up my talking part of this, whatever level you're looking to aspire to, those 7 things that I talked about tonight apply, and you can control the first 6. So don't be frustrated with the assigner if things don't go your way, or don't be frustrated with your competitors, your fellow officials, if they get something that you wanted. Make sure that you're maxing out your effort in those first 6 areas, and then be a little patient, and hopefully luck will get on your side. So that's my presentation, 45 minutes. I have 14 minutes left over for questions or thoughts or comments, or people want to tell me I'm full of crap. Feel free. But I leave it to you all to hit me with your thoughts or questions or whatever you've got.
So Brian, I'll start off. First, thank you. I appreciate the information here. The last one on luck. I always kind of think about tying it back to what you kind of said at the beginning of the presentation about being seen. And so I'm guessing that the more events that you go to, that increases your ability and likelihood of luck.
Sure.
What are some of those events that are ones that if people are trying to advance up the U.S. Youth ladder, they should be putting their sights on?
Yeah, so let me talk about U.S. Youth and just in general. So U.S. Youth, if obviously State Cup leads to regionals, regionals leads to nationals, and they're selecting the best referees from State Cup to go to regionals, the best referees from regionals to go to nationals, and then there's President's Cup regionals and nationals thrown in there as well. So any of those have support from U.S. Soccer, have support from U.S. Soccer. You're going to have high-level referee coaches. You're going to have people that can help you advance. I think there's some people that don't understand that all those events at the regional and national level, U.S. Soccer is soliciting from the instructors lists. I want to know the top 5 officials at the event. I want to know the top 5 referees. I want to know the top 5 ARs. And then at the end of the year, they're asking, national referee coaches, who were the best referees that you saw this year? Who were the best ARs that you saw this year? So when there's a committee that picks people to get their national badge, they take all that information. When we're picking people to go, to the national championships, we say, and again, this is go back to the disclaimer, we say that you're only being judged off of your work at that event. Well, let's be real. If I've seen you at 5 events and you've killed it, you've knocked it out of the park, every single one, and someone else I've only seen this week and they did a really good job this week, who am I picking? Probably the first person that I saw do really well 5 times. Because again, number 1 criterion assigning trust. I trust the guy that I saw do well 5 times more than the guy I saw do well once. So all those events, the proof is in the pudding there, right? The reason I chose to work for USU Soccer is because their referee program is the best. If you look at the MLS referee roster, something like 95% of the officials have came all the way through that system. They work State Cup, they work regionals, they work nationals. And that's just, it's a fact. I believe the entire FIFA panel did. So, that's just, it is how it is. So that's the USU side. MLS next events, they're important. Like Pro is going there. So, I'm not knocking US Club Soccer. I work for a club that's a US Club Soccer club. They don't have not every event. I'm not saying, don't go to ECNL, don't go to US Club. No, there's some events that they do really well with bringing in, national referee coaches and I don't know what the word is, influencers, I guess, in the referee world, but some they don't. So that's a very fair question, I think, to figure out when you're planning, what events you're going to go to, who's going to see you. And if it's just a, local referee coach, that's cool. You might get some really good information. But if you're looking, to springboard your career, you want people that are kind of the in crowd as far as being able to say, hey, I saw this guy at this event. You need to give him a look. So the MLS next stuff, the USU Soccer stuff at the regional and national level, I think those are the best places to get identified in 2024. The question. Who else? Anybody? Did I put you all to sleep? I talked for 45 minutes straight. That's not good education, by the way. Supposed to be probing and checking for understanding and doing all this stuff, but I didn't do that. National League events are good. Yeah. So like National League events, I ran one in Tampa last month. We had 18 fields and I had 10 national referee coaches, and not just 10 national referee coaches. I had 10 pretty important national referee coaches that that national referee committee is secret, but I know who's on it. So I'm trying to bring people that can help y'all get to that next level. So yep, that's a good one. Who else? What else? Anybody? I'll ask you a question for you guys, and you can put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand. Have you ever been frustrated with trying to move up because you think that somebody's a gatekeeper and maybe has something personally against you? And so I'm asking myself this question. And then how do you deal with that? And I'm going to give you the answer because I've had this question before. Certain parts of the country, if you don't have, I actually just dealt with one today. A guy from a state wanted to come get a national assessment. So he emailed his state referee administrator and said, hey, can I go to blah, blah, blah state and get a national assessment? And his state, the response back from his SRA was national assessment, ? Exclamation point. Wow. Okay. Well, how do you get around that? Real easy. Get so good that no one can hold you back. So yeah, it might take that referee another year, but holy crap. Think what a motivating thing. Your own SRA doesn't think that you can do it. Okay, I'm going to prove them wrong. Go out there and just kill it. I mean, work so hard, be so good that even your biggest hater can't hate on you. Like, how many times, yeah, that guy, I don't really like him, but yeah, he can do that game. At least get them to say that, right? So yeah, that would be my answer to my own question. Who else? Speak. Anyone? Anything? Got just a few minutes left. Questions, thoughts about moving up? Any Colin, again, Colin's getting student of the night. What do you got?
Well, Brian, I just wanted to say I came down for the E64 ODP event in late January, and I had a really good time there. And I just wanted to more say thank you for just how you treated the referees at that event. So I just wanted to reiterate that.
So Yeah, so guys, yeah, I want to kind of throw this out to everybody. I know there's I was looking at who was in the call, and there's certainly several names of people that I know that have been to stuff, but there's no age limit on these things. So don't think that I'm only looking for referees in their 20s. That's not true. I want good referees. I want fit referees. You notice all that stuff that I threw out there tonight. There was nothing about age. I'm talking about fitness. I'm talking about knowledge. So it's 2024. There was a 50-year-old that was invited to national camp this year. It's if you're fit, I don't care what your age is. If you're dedicated, I don't care what your age is. I don't like those 6 things that you can control that I talked about tonight. If you do that, we will find you. Okay. We want you to come to our stuff, obviously, but if you max out those to the best of your ability, I'm not saying like I can't go be Usain Bolt, but I can go train to be as fit as I can be, right? If I'm trying to move up. I can go look at all this instructional material, so there's no doubt, that when there's a goofy rules question, that some 1 in a million thing, that I know the answer, right? So an assistant coach comes running out of the technical area at the AR and is complaining about an offside. Okay, well, a lot of us in a FIFA game 5 years ago would have gave him a verbal warning. Okay, and then oh well, now we can start showing cards to coaches. So then a lot of us would say, okay, that's a yellow card. No, FIFA says that's a red card. So like without having that technical knowledge, you're obviously going to do poorly when it comes to assessments. So I'm kind of rambling on this point, but those things that I talked about, those 6 things plus luck are you guys can all control that no matter what level you're working and what level you aspire to be. And Colin, yeah, coming to those national events, man, you're in an environment with a bunch of people that think like you. What a great place, a great environment to learn, because everyone's trying to do the same thing. Devin, what do you got?
So, how important did you find as you were kind of coming up, right? Where you started making that group of friends and, you have your self-evaluation that you do yourself, but how important it was to have that group around you
Yep.
that you could bounce those ideas off of, hey, this happened in my game. I did this. Here's the video, etc.
So I was best man in Chris and Tori Penzo's wedding. Okay. And Chris and I would talk every day. We probably talked every day for 10 years when we were trying to move up in refereeing. Okay. And obviously he made it a little bit farther than I did. But it was every day. So find that person that you click with. Okay. That you can talk through. Once you stop learning, this job gets a lot harder. Okay. So I struggle sometimes with referees that they get the national badge and they say, okay, I'm done learning. Okay. Well, was your goal to just get the national badge, or did you want to get the games that you can get with the national badge? Right. So yeah, man, having a good kind of peer group to just talk through things and being open and willing to listen and to change. I mean, that's the separator between a good ref and a great ref. I'm trying to sit here and break down the math, right? By the way, unofficially, I think the MLS lockout is ending, like as we speak. So think about those officials, okay, that are going to come back and probably referee MLS games this week. How few of them there are, and how they had to kind of stick together through this situation that they were involved in. And now, because of that, how tight they're going to be going forward. So obviously we didn't experience that. Okay. But if you've got fellow officials that you've kind of been through the wars with, share your experiences with them as you move forward. Okay. Just because I'm lucky enough, back in the day, I was lucky enough to be a 25-year-old that was able to climb the ladder. That doesn't mean that, the 45-year-old guy that I refereed locally with, for 5 years before I started really climbing the ladder doesn't want to hear about my successes and failures. Doesn't mean that I can't learn from them. Of course I can. So, he might not be able to go out and pass the fitness test with me, but I could bounce how to manage people off of him, because in his day job, he manages people all the time. He manages his wife and his kids. So absolutely, I'm going to have, those peers that I'm going to try to bounce things off of, because that's just going to make me better. Okay. Good question, Devin. That's awesome. Anybody else? Okay.
Well, Brian, you got us through the 60 minutes there perfectly.
All right, good. No extra, and I wasn't gonna cheat anybody. So, guys, I really
Yeah,
want to
no,
thank you.
great.
No, I really want to thank all of you for coming on for this hour and listening to me. I know a lot of it is stuff that probably a lot of you already know, but it's just good to hear, because so if you're doing this stuff that I talked about tonight, you're on the right path. You just might have to wait for number 7 to kick in.
Perfect. Well, everyone, I appreciate you joining tonight. And with that, we can end our call. So everyone have a good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.